Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be building a Roman house. Now, this Roman house has 2 bedrooms, kitchen, garden as well, has an upstairs lounge, and is a bit more of like a nicer Roman house. The one before we did was a bit more of like a working class shop house that could be in a port area. This is going to be a nice like residential suburban house that is nice in a house row. So I've got a gap in a row of houses here. So I'm building a Roman town in my world. I've got a couple of temples, I've got a couple of streets that I'm building, and I'm just starting to build it, and I'm like, okay, I need a house that can fill in this gap. So I've already started to build a base, and we're going to zoom in and I'm going to show you how I've built that first of all. But what I've done is I've got a 14 by 12 rectangle. So if you've got this space exactly, you've got well enough space to build this. And yeah. So this is basically going to be, so you've got a front garden area, and we're going to be using red terracotta, we're going to be using polished diorite, as well as chiseled quartz blocks, and then a bit of andesite and stone. And if you want to, you can pause the video at the start here so you can see how I've built this. So yeah, and then here we go, we've got one of our older Roman houses that I've done before in the tutorial. I've got a house here that's been seen in a couple of my videos before that doesn't have a tutorial. Then we've got one of our temples here that we've built recently, and then we've got a bigger temple that is unfinished but might be coming in a future video. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to, first of all build this, and then So I'm going to be building some doorways. So I'm going to take some polished andesite and I'm going to be building our 2 doorways. So this is going to go into our garden. And then we're going to take some red terracotta. Now, slow down the video, pause the video if you want to copy along, you want to build along with me, or you just want to watch me build some stuff. So we're going to just be trying to build this, at decent speed. Otherwise, this video will be 3 hours long. So I'm just taking some upside down stairs, and I'm going to build a nice doorway like this. We're going 3 tall, and then we're getting some stairs, and we're doing a pattern like so. And you get a nice doorway. Going to do the same thing here. So for our garden, we're going to do the exact same thing, and you get 2 doorways that are right next to each other so we don't waste any space basically. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some bamboo trapdoors, and at the top of our doorway I'm going to place a bamboo trapdoor inwards, and that's like a, if you imagine like a brass grate or something, it's at the top of the door. And then I'm going to start increasing those base blocks really by 2 red terracottas. Now at the front of the house you can leave it as many 1 gap windows as you want. I think with these it looks better if you have less of them, so I'm only going to leave 3. And then towards the back of this house is going to look pretty boring because I'm going to be building stuff at the back of this anyway, but you can spice up a bit with some extra materials and whatever. So we're just bringing these 2 up, and then we're going to go 2 from the edge here, and then we're going to build 2 up in there, and that's going to be where we're going to place our staircase. Next thing we're going to do is going to put some light blue terracotta here. So typically Roman houses, it's seen in like Pompeii, there's lots of ruins around that region, around Naples, around the world. There was lots of painted walls. So that blue wall there, I'm going to try something else out a little bit later. But I'm going to do a painted wall. And then the rest here, we're going to fill in with some smooth quartz. And so this area, I'm just going to fill in a little bit later. I've got an idea of kind of what I'm going to do, just put some random colours in there. Or you could just skip ahead, you could just put basically any random colour terracotta, cover this blue area, and it will look like a pretty cool painted wall. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just fill in the top, and I'm going to go 2 upwards with smooth quartz blocks. Now I'm going to be including the block counts of the finished product in the description. So if you want to build this in survival, you should have enough blocks to build it. But here I'm going to be filling in with some smooth quartz, and I'm going to be knocking in with some calcite. Now for this next bit, what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to come along and I'm just going to fill in. So what we've done before, we've done with mangrove trapdoors. I'm going to fill in the top of these blocks so it looks like it's kind of like the red colour is coming all the way around the window, otherwise it looks a bit weird. So it's kind of a good way to do that. And as you see before, so on some of our other houses, like the Greek houses and the Roman houses, we've built terraces, whereas this we're going to build like an enclosed front garden. So it's got its own little private garden. It's got its own private garden at the front, for just different plants. I mean, it could be a farm as well if you're in survival. But yeah, it's a little bit of a different one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be just taking more smooth quartz blocks. I'm just going to be extending upwards. So you can use the buildings around as a reference, or even as like, you know, just as how many blocks. I'm going 2 up here, I'm going to leave a gap, then I'm going to be going 3 up, and the idea is you want to leave, you know, some decent sized windows. So if we have a look here, you know, I'm gonna have to edit a bit here. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking some smooth quartz stairs, I'm going to be filling it up at the top like this, and this is going to be like a cool like window, like the top of the window, but between the top of the window and the bottom of the roof. So it makes a little bit of depth in the build. And then we're going to be having a 2x2 window and a 1x2 window. Now at the top of this, I'm going to be taking some bamboo signs, just empty signs, and then again at the top here, and it gives another extra colour, so it gives like a gold colour. And then upside down quartz stairs, and that's going to be the top of the front wall. Now I'm going to be removing some calcite, or putting some calcite where there's some smooth quartz in areas. You don't have to do this. I quite like doing this because it adds a bit of texture, so it looks like the plaster of the house is cracking off in the heat of the sun. You don't have to do this at all if you don't want to. So I'm just going to do it on the front, just to show, for all intents and purposes, what it is doing. And then yeah, we're going to fill in, as I said before, the window sills and the window frames with some mangrove trapdoors. I'm going to take some mangrove buttons, and on the upper block of this window we're going to make a stripe of buttons that's going to go across, which looks quite nice, and that will match our house that we've done before. And then I'm just going to be filling again in with some smooth quartz. I'm going to leave that top block so we can do the same thing with the top of the above the window and below the roof line. And then here we're going to have to, so at the back of this wall we're going to have to add some windows in. So I actually think these windows are a bit low, but yeah, in fact they are. I'm going to have to bring them up. But we're going to do the same sort of things with stairs above the windows, just below where we're going to put the roof. And it makes this like kind of nice, you know, gap. Bit of, like something that looks like a little bit of structure between the top of the window and then underneath the roof, if you get what I mean. So I'm just going to fix this window. And then we're going to have a stripe of the buttons again, and then we're going to fill in the sides of the windows with some mangrove trapdoors, and it just gives an extra little bit of colour to the windows rather than them just being one colour. It's like if the inside was painted a different colour or something. And then the side, I'm going to totally fill it in. So this side, the sides of this house are not going to have any windows because it's going side to side with other houses, so it doesn't make sense for there to be windows there. You'd just be looking at someone's wall. But on the back here, I'm going to add some windows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a slightly different window arrangement as to the front. So I'm going to have like a one high window, just like one block window there. We're going to mirror the window here with the one across. Just we're going to leave this top bit in most cases to put our stairs in. And then I'm going to mirror it. So I'm going to have 2 to the left, and then I'm going to have a 1x2 to the right side of it. Again, we're going to fill in with our trapdoors to add a bit of colour. And it's a sort of thing where, like, if you're building, you know, if you're doing like a Minecraft Realms, it's like a Roman Empire sort of thing, you could use, like, rather than using red, so I'm using red as like the complementary colour to the white of a lot of these houses, and that was typically like the colour that was seen and has been found in archaeology of like Roman houses at the bottom, and, you know, different elements, that being like the main complementary colour in many cases. But you could definitely do it with like blue, because you've got blue buttons and blue signs in the I think it's the warped signs and buttons, so you could do a blue house. You could probably do an orange house with the acacia, you know. So if you have different factions of your empire or whatever, different regions, you could have them as different coloured houses. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just start building the roof. Now, this is a really, really simple roof. It's just literally a slab roof that goes in 2 directions. So it's got single spine in the middle. So I'm just going to be placing some bricks on top of this edge. And then I'm going to be taking some brick slabs on the top of this, on the front and the back. Really, really easy, really, really simple, nothing fancy. We could do something like we've done next door with using like jungle, jungle planks and trapdoors and whatever to make it look like it's been broken, but I'm kind of assuming that this is a nicer house, so they've been looking after their roof a bit more, whereas next door they're not looking after their roof as much. So, I mean, in real life they probably wouldn't have been next door neighbours, but it's Minecraft, it looks a bit cool, you can mix and match. So, in this example, I'm going to have a nice new roof, next door's going to have a, bit of a broken one. Just makes it easier to build. And there we go, that is it for our roof. Super simple, and it is perfect in shape in order to have it in a row. Now at the moment it's starting to come along. It does look still a little bit flat and boring. So what I'm going to do, big thing, is the complementary front garden. Now a lot of these builds that I've done before have been right on the street, and they kind of feel a bit claustrophobic if you build them all together. So there's examples where on builds that I haven't shown on the channel yet, which I am planning to in the future, there's lots of very, very narrow streets because of how the houses are built. Whereas this one, I've set it back from the street a bit and I've got some garden in the middle. So if you had two of these houses, or something like these two houses back to back, or facing each other, you'd actually be able to see more of the house because you've got a garden in the front. So here I'm just building a pine tree with some jungle leaves, some jungle fences, again some jungle leaves, and really, I mean, you can do really whatever you want here. Just place some random bushes and plants and whatever. I found the best mix for things that like look kind of Roman or Greek. If you get like azaleas, you get roses, lilacs, and then large ferns and cornflowers. Because cornflowers looks a bit like flax flowers. Roses would have been typical. Lilacs are pretty typical to Europe as well. And then the large ferns look like small palm trees a little bit, or like just large ferns, which are typical to South Europe as well. Both small palm trees and ferns. So here I'm writing cave canem, and that means beware of the dog. It would have been something in front of lots of Roman houses. They had this, so it's a shame I can't place it on the floor, but I'm going to have it on the wall. It's going to say cave canem on the side, beware of the dog. Now for this next bit, we're going to start on the interior. So I'm just going to fill in with some bamboo doors. And I'm just going to fix a couple of things. But yeah, I need to do the inside, so the internal garden. So again, I mean, you could do this really whatever you want. I mean, you could just have this as like a whole patio with just some seats. I don't know, something like that. I'm going to put a mix of bushes, put some moss carpet as well, makes it a little bit different. I don't know. And then for our stairs, we've done this before on some of our other houses. We're going to take nether bricks, bamboo signs, looks quite nice. And then we're going to be taking, again, how we've done on some of our Greek houses, typical roof kind of structure. We're going to take spruce planks, full blocks, all the way around the edge. And then we're going to be filling in the gaps with upside down spruce stairs. So it makes it look like a nice, it just looks quite nice as a roof, as a ceiling. Rather than just having a flat spruce ceiling, this looks quite nice. Got a bit more detail to it. There we go. Now here I'm going to be building on this little wing to the side in front of the garden. I'm going to be building a single bedroom. So I'm going to be using mangrove doors on the inside, and this is just going to be a small space for a little bedroom. It could not be a bedroom as well, but I'm going to be doing it as a bedroom. And then here we're going to be putting our staircase. Now this staircase is good, and it's a good depth to this house, because it means that you have a good, as you walk into the house, as this guy over here is doing whatever he's doing. As you walk into the house, you can see to your right, easy, nice entrance. You've got all your circulation to the front of the house, pretty much. This is coming off to the side. It's nice and compact. And it's obvious where the stairs are. You don't have to look for them. And you get a decent amount of room. So here, I'm just going to be building, again, bamboo trapdoors. Nice railing to the side. And then, like we did downstairs, I'm going to put some spruce planks in the ceiling. Now you could leave the ceiling like it is, and you could just put some brick slabs. I think it looks a bit nicer if you put it with just do the full spruce ceiling. But you could do it as like a, diorite ceiling or something. I don't know, whatever feels nicest. I mean, I think this is probably, fine. And then this room, we're going to do the same thing as we did downstairs, but this is going to be the master bedroom upstairs. And again, just upside down stairs. Happy days, super easy. Probably would be a good idea to put like a lantern up there to stop the bats, but Now, I'm going to section this up, so I'm going to basically just we're going to build, like we have in many of our builds, I use this all the time, take your bamboo trapdoors and just build a screen. So we're going to be building like a lounge upstairs here. And then, we're just going to need to put some lanterns. Now, what's good about doing it with the full blocks on the edge is that you can place the lanterns there. You can do it without full blocks on the edge, and it does look nicer, I think. But then you can't place any lanterns. So that, in terms of functionality, it's much better in this way. Now for this next bit, I'm just going to build the bedrooms together. So I'm going to build the ground floor one first. So this one, I'm just going to place a single bed, scaffolding, flower pot, something like this, some bookshelves. I mean, really, you could do whatever you want in terms of like, how you do this. It's, really, it's a small space. I think this is probably like a half decent way of doing it. And then I'm going to be building my like candle, structure thing that I use all the time. Some carpets. I mean, there are people that are much better at like designing interiors in Minecraft than I am. I end up doing it like, an architect would always do it, which is probably, probably isn't the most space compact thing in Minecraft. There are probably better ways of doing it. But, you've got bed at the end, decent amount of room, still feels like relatively spacious in here. And there you go. Now for the upstairs, we're basically just going to be doing the same thing, just with a double bed rather than a single bed. So you just put a double bed, any colour bed you want. But typically, saying that, you would have had more colourful bed colours, or maybe even purple beds, with like wealthier families in ancient Rome, as like red and purple were the most expensive dyes. The candle again, scaffolding table, flower pot, something like this with some carpet, and maybe just place something like, some books or a lectern or something like that. Does the job. Armor stand as well, if you've got like a cool player head or suit of armor, that will do the job as well. Maybe just move your lanterns around. It's like a nice open space, or you could just fill in that back wall if you don't want to have that many windows in your master bedroom. But it's a decent space, and you get good view out to the front. Maybe put some banners as well, extra bit of colour. And then we're going to do our lounge. So here I'm just going to be placing some banners on the screens, which make it a bit more private, and I'm going to be putting like a some sort of, I don't know, like a large seat up here with some mangrove slabs and stairs. We're going to put like a plant pot with some birch leaves in it. Maybe like a scaffolding here or there, I don't know. Maybe plant pots, some carpet. This space here is kind of like a semi-awkward space where it's in a corner between the stairs and the bedroom, so it's kind of like, what do you do with it? You could make this like a study or a library, or I don't know, something like that. An enchantment room, storage, I don't know. But I'm going to make it a lounge. Yeah, you can do something like this. I mean, this is quite a simple idea. Could even put some like red banners again. I mean, banners are quite good in these things because it looks like draped fabrics and it makes it look a bit more like soft and luxurious. And then to the back here, so we're just going to be building our kitchen. So I'm going to put a cauldron, some pots, some furnaces as well. That's not a furnace, that's a cauldron. There we go. I've got to find the thing again. There we go. Sorry about that. So we're going to put a furnace there, dark oak trapdoors because they look kind of nice and solid, like a little table. And then I'm going to put like a bench to the back of that table, some chairs, something like that. So I'm just going to grab it from upstairs, build it in, and then we can put some like signs at the back of the same colour. And as you can see, I've kind of kept it so you can walk around quite easily here. So yeah, so you can see you can reach your doors quite easily. You don't have to, you know, jump over things to get there. Don't have to, like, it's not like a maze. As we just fill in some plant pots. And there we basically have it, pretty much. So there, I mean, I really hope you've enjoyed building this Roman house. Again, if it's gone, you know, just make sure to pause the video whenever you want so you can build the house. And we're just going to show quickly what we've built, as well as doing the front, which I've just remembered to do. So what I'm doing here, I'm just placing some random stuff. I mean, it's the sort of thing where when you place the plants in, you can't really, you know, I'm thinking of placing, like, the packed mud is a man, and then, like, there's some gold and green stuff, like plants, which kind of works. I mean, that's a bit of a, you know, dubious one, but, you know, it looks kind of cool that there's, you know, different colour there. So like a feature wall. And just the last thing that I've forgotten to do here is that on top of your front door, get a warped sign and warped buttons. And you're going to put a warped sign in the middle and warped buttons on the edge. And it makes this really cool, like, you know, it could be like a painted thing on the side of the house, at the front of the door. So yeah, for the last time, there we have it. So really hope you've enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think about the house in the comments. You know, we're going to be building some more Roman houses over the summer, so, you know, and I'm kind of enjoying building some Roman stuff in my spare time at the moment, so probably expect to see a bit more of this in the future, as well as some more Greek stuff. And there's lots of other stuff that I've been building for a while that is, like, loads of random different ancient stuff. So yeah, let me know what you would like to see in the future, what you think of the house, and yeah, hope to see you in the next video next week. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.